Law enforcement in Seminole, Orange, and Osceola counties will be closely watching crosswalks today and tomorrow.
This is all part of Operation Best Foot Forward. This morning, Program Director Amanda Day joins us live here as law enforcement gets ready to head out. So this is a pretty big deal as we get closer to the holidays. It's also the end of daylight saving. Why is this particular time of the year so bad?
It's bad mainly because of the change in daylight savings. So any time where you have that change, especially now, it gets darker earlier. We lose sleep as drivers, and there's part of that behavior change that needs to happen. And, you know, the studies even show, too, that there's about a spike of about 6% of traffic fatalities overall across the country, really the 2 weeks after the switch to daylight savings. So this is a big reminder, what we're trying to do today, to drivers and pedestrians to really be cognizant of that and beware of the dangers.
And you guys have a really good idea of which intersections are really the worst in our area. You've come a long way in the way you plan these operations.
That's correct. Actually, we work with numerous law enforcement agencies across the 3 counties, and these crosswalks are selected for a whole host of reasons. Primarily, it is about encouraging driver behavior change. So some of the locations that you'll see is, for example, on Pine Hills Road there near Silver Star, and that is a location where there is a high incidence of pedestrian fatalities and injuries, and that has a lot to do with the speed of the road. So we've been out there enforcing and collecting data there. And then the other types of crosswalks we look at too are those, I'll give an example of, like Edgewater and Shady Lane. And that's a lower speed road. There's a lot of pedestrian activity. And again, those drivers there on a lower speed road aren't stopping as well. And so enforcement as well as some additional engineering, we've seen big changes. So we look for locations in which there's, yes, incidents of injuries, but also, you know, that willingness for drivers to change their behavior too.
Some of the numbers are staggering. I mean, 84% of drivers on Apopka, Vineland, and Lake Street, they're not stopping at all. So this is a $164 ticket, right? And 3 points on your license. You see somebody standing on the sidelines, you need to stop, right?
That is correct. I mean, that is really it. I mean, as drivers, that we kind of forget that we are pedestrians, and I could say as pedestrians, we forget that we're drivers. It's us versus them. And so when you are driving, it's really the law to yield and stop for a person who's trying to cross the street. And today is that kind of that education with a big stick, reminding those drivers that if you don't, you will get a ticket.
All right, Amanda Day there with Best Foot Forward. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So
Thank you.
Thank you. So this initiative again happening in Seminole, Orange, and Osceola counties today and tomorrow.
And we have the locations of where law enforcement will be watching on WFTV.com.